Today at FEMA, we are going to cover import of goods and services. It's a very, very important area wherein all importers, they have to follow the rules and regulations of FEMA. What are all the first thing for this? Please read Master Circular issued by Reserve Bank of India in number RBI/Fed/2016-17/12 dated 1/1/2016. So this is a very, very important circular. Even right now, they are following the same rules and regulations of the circular, Master Circular issued by Reserve Bank of India. So for this, please refer section 5 of FEMA. That is the thing that you have to read along with the notification number GST 381E dated 3/5/2020. So based on this, the Master Circular and the notification, this import of goods and services are being covered. So RBI also issued directions to the authorized persons under section 11 of FEMA 1999. So here one has to see the authorized persons are responsible to have the import and export of transactions. Here, as per section 11 of FEMA, the RBI has given a clear circular that authorized person, what are the roles of authorized persons, everything is being covered by section 11 of FEMA of 1999. RBI has also issued directions to authorized dealers to conduct the foreign exchange business with their customers or constituents to carry out within the regulations frame. So this is a very, very important thing. RBI has clearly, specifically has given direction to the authorized dealers, and they have to deal with their clients, with their customers as per the rules frame under FEMA to have the transaction in foreign exchange. So here, before going to further, we want to have a simple knowledge about the import. So imports in India, import in trade in India is being regulated by DGFT. DGFT means Director General of Foreign Trade. So here the authorized dealer has to transact all the imports of business which should be in conformity with the foreign trade policy, FEMA and RBI directives. Based on that only they have to carry out the transactions. Authorized dealers have to follow the normal banking procedures. So they have to adopt KYC, they have to say this is a normal course of business. There is no special thing. So authorized dealers are permitted or even authorized to do the transactions of import as a normal banking regulation. They have to adhere to the provisions of uniform customs and practices for documentary credits. This they have to follow at the time of opening the LC for their constituents. Constituents means normally their customers. Authorized dealers have to advise their constituents. They have to follow the provisions of Income Tax Act also. Wherever applicable, they have to follow. So authorized dealers are the persons responsible to carry out the foreign exchange transactions at the time of import. So they have to carry out the transactions in the normal banking transactions. The reference to RBI should be made first to Reserve and Regional Office of Foreign Exchange Department according to the jurisdiction where the applicant person resides unless otherwise. Here they are talking about the jurisdiction. Thing, suppose if anyone imports a goods, the authorized dealer has to inform the regional office of the Reserve Bank of India, and in that foreign exchange department they have to inform. The jurisdiction is where the constituents, where the importer resides, unless otherwise stated. So first thing, the jurisdiction is being defined, that is residential address of the importer is being taken into account. Then after getting approval of RBI, with valid reasons, they can file in other jurisdiction. So in other jurisdiction also it is permitted. So, but if you file the reference before RBI in other jurisdiction other than the residential address of the import or constituents, you have to get a necessary approval of the Reserve Bank of India. This is a very, very important thing. It is the role of the RBI. It is the role of the, it is the role of the authorized dealer. They have to take the necessary action. So what are the general guidelines? So while making the import payment transaction on behalf of the clients, authorized dealers, banks have to follow the rules and regulations. So whenever goods have been imported, the bankers, the authorized dealers, they have to see whether the goods have actually been imported against the order, whether the goods have been really reached the India, whether the payment terms have already been agreed between the importer and the supplier, importer and the buyer of the supplier of the machine or other goods. So everything have to be followed properly. So if there is no specific regulations available, then authorized dealers have to follow the normal trade practices. Normally, in few cases, some specific regulations will be applicable, but it is not there. Then the authorized dealer bank has to follow. Authorized dealer bank has to follow the normal trade procedures. Then, to open the account, the authorized dealers, they have to adhere to the KYC guidelines issued by the Reserve. They have to adhere to the KYC guidelines issued by the India. So KYC follow-up is a very, very important thing for the authorized dealer before opening the account. To operate the account, everything depends on the KYC guidelines. So now the remittances for imported. Now you have made the payment, you have imported the goods. Now authorized dealers, they have to make the payment. What are the procedures? So authorized dealers allow remittances for making payments for imports into India. So normally foreign exchange will not be allowed to go outside India without proper thing. So whenever goods have been imported, so thing is they have to make the payment. So the payments have to be made by the authorized dealers. And all the requisite details have to be verified by the authorized dealers. All these details have to be submitted by the importer to the authorized dealer. So authorized dealers, before making payment, he has to verify all the requested data, say in the form of invoice, in the form of whether good bill of lading, whether the content is being actually received or not, whether the import order has been properly adhered. Everything has to be verified by the authorized dealer, and they have to follow the proper procedures before making the payment. So remittances is for bona fide transactions. So here it is the verification of bona fide transactions is the important role of the authorized dealer. So remittances for bona fide transactions is a must for the authorized dealer. So that means because you are remitting the payment outside India, so the transactions of remittances of foreign exchange outside India should be for only for the bona fide transactions. Now there are freely allowed imported goods, restricted goods. Restricted goods is there in the negative list. So other than the goods mentioned in the negative list, the importer can import the goods into India. Further, the bankers, they have to issue LC. So remittances into India will be done based on the LC freely open, and those goods should not be covered in the negative list. For exchange control purposes, the authorized dealers has to obtain licenses. So authorized dealers, he has to verify the licenses that are required, because this is for to control the payment of foreign exchange. So authorized dealers have to obtain the licenses required for this import payment transactions. Authorized dealers have to keep all those utilized licenses till they are verified by the internal auditors or inspectors. So the thing is, the authorized dealers, they have to maintain, they have to keep the record of all the licenses till those licenses have been verified by the internal auditors and inspectors. Now, it is the application of purchaser of foreign exchange. Who is going to buy the foreign exchange? It is the importer. Any person acquiring foreign exchange is permitted to use either for the purpose of mentioned in the declaration to authorized dealer or as permitted under FEMA or rules and regulations framed there. So, importer, they have to make the payment to the supplier of the goods. So, the purpose is the goods purchase has been properly paid in the form of foreign exchange. So it has to be verified by the authorized dealer and it has to be permitted under FEMA, and they have to follow the rules and regulations of FEMA to make the payment to purchase the goods by way of imports. So it is a very, very simple. You have made the import, you have to make the payment. So the import should be genuine, the payment should be genuine. So all this should be verified by the authorized dealers. In case the importer utilizes foreign exchange, he has to produce the evidence of import to the authorized dealer, and the authorized dealer has to satisfy goods. It's a very, very simple thing. It is a duty of the importer. He has to produce the evidence to the authorized dealer. Let us take authorized dealer here is banker. So the banker, he has to verify whether the goods has been properly received at India, and he has to satisfy, authorized dealer has to satisfy that the goods are in genuine nature, they are not covered in the negative list, and what is the value stated in the invoice, all are correct. So this duty of the importer, they have to satisfy the authorized dealer that it's a genuine transaction. So, and the transaction should be done on a notified date. What is a notified date? It's a date mentioned on or before this date the payment has to be made. So that is a notified date. So import remittances outstanding as on the notified date, all payments should be made. So this is another thing that you have to follow. Then what is the obligation of the another obligation of the purchaser of foreign exchange is if a person resident in India, he can make the payment for import of goods and services through international card. He can make the payment to the international card. That is also allowed. That is in the form of credit card and debit card. In Indian rupee is the charge slip signed by the importer and as prescribed by RBI. So payment can also be made in Indian rupee. It will be paid in the form of credit card or debit card of which is the international card which has been issued by the International Card Division, and the signing of charge slip is must. So importer sign is must. So other than the importer, no one can sign the credit card or debit card or that slip or as prescribed by RBI. So RBI has got the power that it has to be done as per the instruction of the RBI straight away as per FEMA. International card payment is also allowed. The same I want to share. And what are the other obligations are? Person resident in India can make payment as follows. So he is a person resident in India, he can make the payment as follows. Suppose if any person resident outside India, he came here and this person resident in India, he has to make the payment towards boarding, lodging, and travel to and from India. Suppose if any person resident outside India, he visits to India, all the expenses can be borne by the person resident in India. So that expense is also restricted to boarding, lodging, and travel. Other than that, nothing is permitted. To and fro expenses are allowed. And to buy gold or silver in any form, suppose if anyone wants to buy the gold, so he can buy the gold or silver in any form, make the payment by a cross check or DD as per the laws in force. So it is suppose if you are buying gold or silver in any form from abroad, so you can make the payment in the form of cross check or DD as per the laws in force. The law, rules, regulation, directions are as per the MA or board, a company or person resident in India can make payment in rupee to its non-whole-time directors. It's not a whole-time director, it's a non-whole-time director who is a resident outside India and is in our visit to India for towards sitting fees or commission or remuneration and travel expenses from and in India. So it's a very, very simple. Suppose the company is there, the non-whole-time director is coming to India. So all the expenses have to be borne by the company. So these expenses can be made towards sitting fees, commission or remuneration and travel expenses from and in India. So to and fro is also being allowed. So this is a thing that you have to see. Is a part one of import of goods and services and FEMA were discussed. And thanks for this program. And we will meet you in the next program of the import of goods and services. Nandri, vanakkam.